I'm just going to talk you through some of the changes I've made to this motorcycle since owning it. The first thing I did was get the Wunderlich crash guards. So I think they retail at about £220. Yes, it's a little bit expensive, but I remember in Spain seeing someone come off the road on a classic GS and seeing the exhaust and the whole cylinder being ripped off, and I just thought, do you know what, that's some protection that I could do with. I've also just recently added the original crash guard or sump guard to the BMW. It doesn't offer a huge amount of protection, but isn't too over the top like some of the other ADV style sump guards. I also added a Rizoma headlight grille. Again, it's not too over the top. It was a little bit on the expensive side at 170 odd pounds, but it doesn't ruin the aesthetics of the bike. Also, I've added, as you can see, the bark busters. It does come with the plastic protection, but I tend not to use the protection most of the time. Just an added precaution. In terms of other protection I will be adding, I'll also be adding to the radiator some protection, essentially from loose stones when I go to Morocco. And I'll also be adding on the rear swing arm a little plastic knobby that you can get from Wunderlich, just to protect the rear swing arm in case of a fall. One thing that I have done, which is not protection related, is, I don't know if you can see in here, but I've put a LED conversion into the headlight. I'll just turn it on. You can see it's nice bright white. Now that was quite an interesting experimentation, because essentially you have to separate out from the headlight loom, and you have to wire in, I don't know if you can see here, but you have to wire in basically a resistor. Otherwise the CAN bus essentially doesn't record the CAN bus doesn't actually record the fact that there's a headlight in there. You get a error message. And the same applies both for the headlight and for the pilot light. You need to actually install a resistor, which is a bit of a pain. It's quite a lot more of a faff than I was expecting, but I now get crisp white light, and with the headlight grille it's quite important for me to have the extra light because it does block out some of the light. I've also put a Monimoto tracker in just to keep tabs on the bike. In terms of other changes I'll make, I think I'll probably get rid of the charcoal canister, which is just here to the left of the shock. This is something that basically can pollute the bike. It takes any extra fuel coming from the fuel tank and just collects it in there. But apparently you can get a bit of backwash, and it's just a bit of added extra that I don't think I need. So I'll be taking that out. I'll be replacing the suspension at some point, probably with a standard Olin monoshock, and maybe if I can afford it, a cartridge system for the front. And at the back, at some point, I'm going to get the Wunderlich tail tidy, just to make it look a little bit cleaner. But essentially, other than that, I think I'm going to leave it alone. I've got no issues with the Mickey Mouse mirrors. They actually look quite in keeping with the style, and the rev counter, you know, the optional extra is about 500 quid, and frankly it's just another distraction, so I think I might keep away from that. The other thing that's worth pointing out is that you have this, as fantastic as it is, DIN. It's basically like a mini cigarette lighter, and it works great if you've got one of those. If you've got something for your phone to connect it to, but if you try and power anything more powerful like auxiliary lights or an electric pump, it will cut out. Anything over, I think, 5 amps, and the engine cuts, the CAN bus system kicks in and it cuts it out. So you will need to wire in a separate one directly to the battery, which is something else I'll be doing before Morocco.